What kind of jewelry is trending right now?
Wow. Let's start with the money wedding.
Yes. Just like how the Gen Zs are ghosting in their relationships, similarly, they do it even for the job sector. Like they do not inform the HR that they sometimes and they just quit jobs like it.
Yeah.
Why is it?
I think it's a reflection of the decade that we're living.
How do HR professional look in a candidate? Now that you have been an HR for a longer stretch of time, what do they usually look in a candidate?
Very good question. And this I'll take a two-pronged approach when I ask this. Because
You're watching Popcorn with Piyu, Goa's leading podcast channel.
Welcome back to another interesting episode of Popcorn with Piyu. I'm your host Priyanka Naik Desai, and yes, today we are back to my favorite place, your favorite place, Terra by Ocean from Goa.
You just have this high, fuzzy up all the time, smelling like vanilla, sandalwood and pine. Sometimes when I tumble down to an unknown ground, you save me again, hold me. I don't wanna sleep alone.
For the day is someone whom I personally resonate a lot because we have common interests, but I did not invite her just because we have common interests. I've invited her because she has been wearing multiple hats, from being a lecturer to excelling to be a very good HR to now starting her own business, starting her own jewelry brand. She has grabbed all of our attention. We have with us Kavitharaj to talk about jewelry, gold, diamond, gemstone, all of it. So join me in for that.
So, hi, Kavita. Popcorn with Piyu.
Hi, Piyu. This is amazing to be here with you.
We are so glad to have you along with us.
Oh, I'm too excited.
Let's start. So, how are you? What is life?
Great. This is the first time I've come back to Goa for the longest stay after 23 years of being in New Zealand. So 4 months in Goa after this long period feels very different to coming here as a visitor. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Okay. As you mentioned, that you have come to Goa after 23 years, which is definitely a longer stretch of time. Oh, why do you be in New Zealand? Why do you move to New Zealand?
It's a very interesting one. We didn't really plan on a long-term move. When I say I've come after 23 years, I mean a long stay. When we first applied to move to New Zealand, it was purely for fun to see whether we qualify for immigration or not, along with my brother-in-law at that time. And we qualified, and for fun, we took New Zealand. And the reason we took New Zealand was because in my then 9th standard class, there was a English lesson on hot springs in New Zealand.
Okay.
Wakarewarewa. And my husband and I said, look, Canada, we qualify, but it's too cold. Australia, we qualify, but it's too hot. New Zealand is pretty. We get to see Wakarewarewa and surge and hiding cricket, obviously. So let's do New Zealand. And we told our parents, we'll come back in 2 years. Don't worry, it's been 23 years.
So then you have not come and Goa.
Well, I'll come every year. But it's more, holidays, take a 3-4 weeks break. But this is the longest one.
How was your ride over here while coming from?
I'm sure. Yeah, it's interesting. It was good. I will say that compared to what the roads were many years ago to now, I'm loving the roads in Goa.
Right now?
Absolutely. Except there's small stretches where work is going on. The other day, I drove from Wanda to Sati, which is where I did all my schooling. And I said, oh my God, these roads are fantastic. Free flow, no traffic, widest roads. It's amazing.
What difference do you see in Goa 23 years back and right now? Like, what is the difference? I mean, like, we live in Goa, I live in. So I cannot comment on saying that is you have seen a difference in the longer stretch. Probably now, living for 4 months, you have experienced again what it is to be a human.
Yeah.
And earlier you were a human.
Yeah.
So what is the difference that you see?
So I think growing up in Goa, we are exposed to daily life. Schooling, you go to school, you come back, go to college, you come back, hang out with your friends, and you have certain hangouts that you go to. That was our life at that time. But over the years, especially in the last 3 years, I think I've seen a level of commercialization in Goa, especially in the tourism sector, which in some ways doesn't make me comfortable anymore, because it's so much more commercialized. It's from all over. Some parts of this side, Kalanpur, Bhagapur, I don't even recognize anymore. And those used to be an every year school picnic places. We were brought to Bhagapur every year. But it's very different now. Yeah.
What do you miss the most about Goa when you are in New Zealand? Gosh, the food. Fish curry rice.
Bangade, tisreo, any sorts of humor, I think that's mainly the food. And of course the people, that goes without saying. My family is here, my husband's family is here. My children are born here. So that connection will always be there. It gets stronger, I guess, when you go away.
So you are a person, you are basically born in a family, Kerala family. You are raised in Goa, then you shifted to New Zealand because of your interest, and later on you probably started a business there, and now you are traveling the world because of business purpose. So how does this multicultural differences influence you as a person? Like how it has framed your identity?
Wow, that's a very good question. And I now see myself as a rolling stone, So I've gathered thinking and thoughts and, lifestyle over the years. So I identify myself traditionally as half and half. So I'm half Malayali and half Goan, that's for sure. That's very clear in my spirit and the way I live my life. But at the same time, I moved to Pune for my education. So I have a lot of the Marathi influence in me too. I grew up I studied in Sadashivpet, which is a very authentic Puneri experience, So I have some of those influences too. And of course, moving to New Zealand and adapting to lifestyle there, you gather so much more, eating gardens, and you also interact with a lot of other ethnicities from around the world. So that New Zealand, in that sense, is quite diverse. So you have immigrants, because it's very immigrant friendly. You have immigrants from different parts of the world. So our friend circle is quite mixed in that sense. We have South Africans and Malaysian Indians and Indians from Singapore or Chinese or Japanese and Koreans and all of them. So you learn constantly from those interactions, I guess.
What is that one common thing you find in people all over the globe?
One common thing. I think bottom line, especially now that I live my life in New Zealand, I think everybody wants to succeed. Everybody wants to do well, whatever they're good at their craft. And everybody genuinely wants to put good effort, in being able to succeed in whatever they do. So I think that's a bit of a bottom line with everyone.
Why did you shift to Pune?
Pune. Yeah, so now this will tell my age. Way back when I was graduating and I was doing my first years as Jewellery, my interest has always been in humanities. So I followed arts and I did literature, economics, and psychology. And I wanted to pursue psychology. At that time, we didn't have a bachelor's degree here. Yeah, so the next nearest place was Pune. So I said,
How was your experience in Pune?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think that's where a lot of my growing up happened because I left Goa when I was about 18, And of course, being a young person, living in a hostel with a lot of other people, you learn so much more and so much quicker. One of the best things I learned was managing my own money. And those days, not everybody moved always for studies. You had to compromise and do things. Luckily, my parents were very accommodating of what I wanted to do. And another thing I learned is to eat just about everything because I was so much a fish curry rice person here. And I went to Sadashivpet and that whole area, they wouldn't even serve eggs or fish. So I ate bhopra for lunch, I ate bhopra for breakfast and dinner. Yeah.
You started psychology. Then you took the shift from journey into a corporate sector. Probably you were teaching psychology after some time, for some time, I'm not sure. I got to know that you were a lecturer. Then you shifted to joining the corporate sector when you were HR.
Yes.
How did this shift happen from studying humanities, where you like to talk about brains, how people think, to coming to a very enclosed corporate sector?
Yeah. You're right. In terms of when you observe the subject from the other side, it looks like you're talking about people's behaviors and what's going on behind their minds. But the bottom line is you're dealing with people. Whether it's on the textbook or whether it's your lab environment or whether it is in the corporate sector, you're still dealing with people when you talk to people and you're observing behaviors. So I think the shift was not so much more about, going from one environment to the other, but it is how you apply that learning in a different environment. So I think the the thing that kept me interested in HR always has been different environments, different company, different environments, different work cultures. And you learn from that and kind of chop and change your ways to understand what is best. So yeah.
Okay. What do HR professional look in a candidate? Now that you have been an HR for a longer stretch of time, what do they usually look in a candidate?
Very good question. And this I'll take a two-prong approach when I ask this because it depends from culture to culture. So when I was in HR in India, and I worked here in Glen, and I was at Titan, and a couple of really good organizations. And the way we recruited and looked at potential employees was so different compared to what I do for now. And I think the difference is because of the size of population that we're dealing with, our screening is far more rigid here. Because you have to hone into the top 100 before you go into the top 2 candidates for the role. So the criteria for fresh graduates coming into the workforce here in India often and probably still is about which university you went to and got your degree, what qualifications you got, sometimes what percentages you got in certain subjects. And then meeting all the selection criteria and then kind of shortlisted that way. While I have been working in New Zealand, I've also recruited for places like Australia, Malaysia. While I was seated in New Zealand, Fiji, and of course New Zealand. And I find that the criteria for selection is quite different in each of those countries. So, for example, in New Zealand, I've never had an employer or a hiring manager ask me, where did they get their degree from? What marks did they get in certain subjects? Produce evidence of those degrees, etc. Not once. I've never been asked, and the people I've recruited have been asked. So it shows you where the priorities now lie, because it's not about what you've got, but what attitude you bring to work that make you a great employee. Yeah. So it's about what do your work ethics like? Do you turn up to work? Are you keen to learn? Are you okay to unlearn some of your old habits? And your personal competencies. How do you communicate? How do you deal with other people? Those factors have a lot more importance, in that side of the world. And so then you chop and change your ways to screen accordingly. Yeah.
What are the biggest mistakes some candidates do, or we can say what are some of the rare flags that candidates come with for an interview?
I think because of being in recruitment for almost 2 decades now, the red flags have changed, over time. And I'll talk through something that's more relevant to today's employment market. And AI, as we know, is such a big factor. It's helping everybody do a lot of different things. And one of the things AI is helping candidates with is preparing for potential questions at interviews, for tweaking their CV or tweaking their cover letter or even generating an entire CV cover letter and even comparing your application to the advertisement to tell you if you're a great match for the role, etc. So all that is great. But end of the day, when I deal with a lot of migrant candidates, when they come to me and say, Kavitha, just give me a chance to interview, I will crack the interview. And I nod my head from side to side, because you don't crack an interview in your authentic self. If that works for the employer, they will bend backwards to make it possible for you. But if you're there to crack an interview, but you may or may not be able to do the job, how does that help anybody? So cracking an interview is not the end goal. The end goal is how well suited you are to the role, and then making sure you put your best foot forward.
So how important it is? So in your opinion, what is more important for in an interview? Is it authenticity, or do you think sticking by the perfect answers?
Oh, definitely authenticity. Definitely, because everything else shows, right? When you're trying to put on an act, at some point the purdah falls, the curtain falls, and the real person is revealed. And I've seen it all the time, And the authentic person may not have the right answers for everything, but when that honesty shows, I have seen hiring managers bend backwards to make it possible to have them, because they like that the person is honest about what they know and don't know. And that's very critical, because these are long-term relationships. Nobody's looking at, 5-8 months gigs. They're looking for something long-term. And if you have a wrong person on your side, it's very difficult to performance manage them and get them out of the system, because then you have to follow a process. Nobody wants to do that. It's not a happy place. People want to have the right people, teach them. Everything else is teachable. You can put them on courses, you can put them in workshops and tweak and polish people. But what you can't change is attitude.
Do you think sometimes in India, because of such a wide rate of unemployment, and also because there are so many people coming for one particular interview, do you think we do not get the judgment, or we do not give justice to a true candidate?
Can you repeat that?
Like, for example, consider you are having
You're talking about here.
in India.
Yeah.
This is particularly only in India. Because, as you say, the recruitments are done, the shortlisting is done based on the certificates, the degrees you get. Do you think the right candidate do not get justice in India at times because there are so many candidates out there?
I don't know whether it's justice. I'm not qualified to answer on behalf of Root here. But I don't think a huge population, let's say you've advertised for a role, admin assistant. And it's quite likely you'll have about 2,000-3,000 applications. Yeah. Every company invests about 2 months to get to the end of the process, right? 4 weeks of advertising, whatever the time period is for advertising, then the selection process, and then arriving at the right candidate. So roughly that's the time frame everybody kind of tries to stick to. It's an investment of time and money and effort to get there. In that time, if you want the right candidate, you need to go through those 3,000 applications by the end of 4 weeks. And generally, how many of us have the time? I don't know. Because you're not dealing with one vacancy, you're dealing with multiple vacancies. So that's one of the shortfalls of where you have large number of applications. Number two, one of the things that a lot of hiring managers go by is, if you're really motivated as a candidate in the market, you will apply as soon as you see the ad. You won't sit on it and apply in the fourth. Because it tells a lot about you. Either you're not active in the market, or you're not so interested, or you were sitting on the fence thinking whether you should apply or not. And the one who are motivated and very active in the market have put the effort in the first week. So why shouldn't you be looking at those candidates?
Instead of doing this much.
Yeah. So, I think there's some element of judgment here and there, but overall, I think good people may miss it.
Nowadays, if you look at the Generation Z, basically people who are in their early 20s to mid 20s, probably till 28, 29, those era, including me, and I'm also of that gender. people have the tendency wherein the young Gen Z kids cannot work for too long in a particular corporate sector. It does not suit their personality. For example, the earlier time, if you look at the scenario, whatever would be the job requirement, people used to stick by it, try their level best to stay in a particular job. Now, just like how the Gen Zs are ghosting in their relationships, similarly, they do it even for the job sector. Like they do not inform the HR that they sometime and they just quit jobs like it.
Yeah.
Why is it?
I think it's a reflection of the decade that we're living. And for me, the biggest comparison is my father's generation. My father worked for Civil War, here in Goa for, I don't know, 20, 25 years before he quit. He was with Denpos, I think, in 71, 72. And then he was with Civil War for the rest of his career. To his generation, loyalty really mattered. You know, you work hard, you get a job, you stick to it, you express your loyalty by sticking in the job. And of course, there's growth associated with it and all that. But growth is not as important as loyalty and long tenure. You know, if you got a job, you stick to it because there are a lot of other responsibilities attached to that. You know, most of them probably had to look after their families, you know, send money back home, raise their siblings, you know, support their families. So there's probably a lot more just expectations out of each member, you know. Then came my generation where, yes, you know, your tenure and all of that mattered, but at the same time, you're looking at growth a little more. You know, but tenure did matter when I first started out. When I left jobs after every 3 years, my father and mother, like, they are mind blew. Like, how can you leave such a good job, you know? For example, in New Zealand, I was with New Zealand Police for about 6 years. And when I left that job, my mother-in-law was panicking. She was like, how can you leave a government job, you know? I said, oh, Mom, another job will happen. You know, it's another job, you know. But it served the purpose at the time when I was there. But, you know, when it was no longer serving the purpose, I decided to move. So I think my generation kind of went through that, where we were placing the. And then came, you know, the generations after that, where not only growth, but also alignment of your values to the place that you're working for has become equally important. And when talking of Gen Z, my children are Gen Z, you know, kids. And I see their choices in their careers being based on value alignment. You know, the places that they are working with, is it aligned to how they think? You know, is the culture aligned to what they thought the culture would be at the time of the interview? And if it doesn't work, they're happy to make the next decision, you know. So it's no longer about, oh my God, Gen Zs, I can't deal with it. It is also for my generation to learn to deal with that, you know. If it's not aligned, then what am I doing wrong to be able to fix that? So it's not about placing blame here and there. Of course, there are factors like, you know, work ethics are no longer the same. People turn up and they turn off.
Yes.
You know, like my generation doesn't turn off. You know, we will hang around till the project is done or till the job is done. But the new generation is happy to turn off no matter what the pressure. They will turn off. And, you know, then it is about realigning how we look at working together.
How can universities and colleges train or train students for being best candidate for corporate role or setting up their own life ahead? Do you think universities are doing justice for preparing students for the further life? Specifically the Indian universities.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think it's quite deep too. Because, you know, going back to how our colleges prepared us, probably there was nothing, you know. You were left to swim or sink once the degrees conferred on you. I think these days universities do put an effort in placements and, you know, though it was there during our time, it's not such a big thing. Everybody found their own jobs. I think universities now do prepare them for the work environment a bit in terms of what to expect or what kind of roles would be suited to your vocation, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, it's your own personal makeup that will really show at your workplace. So like I said, you can prepare, you can crack an interview, you can get the job. End of the day, it's the personal competencies you carry with you that will actually make or break you. Yeah.
Okay. You have done well in the corporate sector. Then you took the decision of moving and starting your own brand of jewelry.
Yeah.
Basically being an artist.
Right.
What made you come up with this decision?
Yeah. So I think I had that, entrepreneur bug in me for a very long time. When I left Goa and went to New Zealand, my husband and I, and 2 kids and 4 suitcases, is how we landed there. We took our own dal, pressure cooker, rice, and, thinking that we need things to survive. And our thinking at that time was, because I have been in Asia, it might be easier for me to get a job. And because Raj is a civil engineer, he may need to re-qualify as per New Zealand standards. And so he will take time. What happened was the exact opposite. He got a job within about 2 months of landing, and I got about 410 rejections. So I had that time a green diary of my applications and rejections. And after 400, I said, probably not a good time to apply. I need to do something else. But I always had the thing, you need to do something on your own, So I have a designer friend here. You may have heard of his name, Ranjit Geiger. I used to get clothes made from him and take it in New Zealand and sell it. Yeah, so I sold it online, or I even went to weekend markets and set up a stall and did those little gigs side by side. And each time something did not work out as planned, and I moved to a new product. I sold art, I did all sorts of things. And when I left the police, the main reason was to be able to start something on my own. And at that time, I started my own Manuka Honey export company. So Manuka Honey is very unique to New Zealand. It's honey that's got a lot of antibacterial, antibiotic properties, which is very unique to honey, in general. So I set up my own tiki kind of business, and I was exporting Manuka honey to different parts of the world. And COVID came, and I had to kind of quit because I also always had a full-time job, always had a job on the side, and my side gigs were my side gigs. I couldn't focus on that at the time. I said, okay, time to close. Obviously, my bestie and I somehow we always discussed about starting something together. One of these late night drives that we would always go for, take a car, buy a McDonald's coffee in our pajamas, we'll be driving around the city and trying to solve world problems, And in one of those talks, we said, jewelry, why not? Let's do it together. And literally in my house driveway under the street light at 2:30 in the morning, we said, let's do this. And in 1 week's time, we had the brand name. In about 1.5, 2 months' time, we had a launch of our brand.
So when you took this decision, you were scared, like, what if it doesn't run at all?
Yeah, see, everybody takes calculated risks, right? So one of the things that comforted us, so one of the reasons why we wanted to get into jewelry was because we both have daughters, and as per Indian culture, you give your daughters jewelry as part of the wedding. And at that time, our kids were like in their early 20s, and we would talk about, what will we give our daughters, And so it stemmed from one of those conversations. And because it stemmed from that conversation where the jewelry is for us and our daughters, it didn't scare us that if nothing sold, because it's sell, we'll keep it. Because that was the whole purpose of doing it,
What kind of jewelry is trending right now?
Wow. Let's start with the money wedding. Yes. So emeralds are trending, and that's how my emeralds came into being. But I think each season there are predictions of certain stones that become more and more popular. I think over a period of time, people have kind of started thinking of stones in addition to diamonds, Of course, right now there's this whole thing about lab diamonds and natural diamonds. And I find a lot of my younger clients are now moving easily towards lab diamonds because it makes sense, It's cruelty-free, and it's, because it's created in the lab. It's price point, it's pleasing to the heart and the pocket. It looks the same. Chemically, it's exactly the same. So it makes sense to a lot of younger people. And it also, have a certain client that looks at natural diamonds, say, if I'm ever wearing, then I'll wear only natural. So, you get all sorts of people. At the same time, people are moving to other colored gemstones. And at the moment, people are talking about maribas, which are a nice aqua colored stone, or, and the usual name, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires, but never go out of fashion.
So, you have mentioned about lab-grown diamonds and the natural. What is the difference between them?
Right. So natural diamonds are how we know diamonds, formed
From the core.
from the core. Yeah, they are mined, and then you cut and polish and get your natural diamonds. The lab diamonds have been around for about 10 years, I believe.
Yeah.
And how lab diamonds are grown, basically, I understand that they're grown from the seed of a natural diamond,
Okay.
but in a lab environment. So chemically, physically, almost under certain microscopes, it is exactly like a natural diamond, except that under the new, lenses, you might be able to tell the difference between a lab-grown and a natural diamond. So the cooking time of lab-grown diamonds is far lesser than a natural diamond. Natural diamond may take about 1 million years to form. Lab diamond may be grown in about 4 or 5 weeks' time.
Okay, if we go to a jeweler to purchase any kind of diamond jewelry, how do we know if it is a lab-grown diamond or a natural diamond?
So most of the reputed jewelers will always have a certificate to go with it. So if you're buying solid, even natural diamonds, when you're buying, usually there's a separate certificate that certifies the stone, and then the whole piece of jewelry is a different certificate. So if it's a solitaire, you have either GIA or IGI certification. It tells you the dimensions and the quality, clarity, and all of that of the diamond. And similarly with lab, you can ask for a certificate to get you. So whatever's not natural will hopefully be a lab diamond.
How do I know without going to a jeweler if a diamond is real or not? Someone is wearing it, consider I'm wearing a particular diamond stone. But in case if I'm wearing, how do I know if it is a real diamond?
Or you mean natural and lab?
Yes.
So natural and lab, to the naked eye, you will not see any difference.
Is that price difference?
Yes. Yes.
So I could be easily cheated upon if I do not have much idea about the jewelry.
Well, I wouldn't call it cheated because a lab diamond is a diamond. It is grown from a seed of a diamond. So it's not that it's not a diamond. It's still the period is far shorter. It does the same job. It has the same level of hardness like a normal diamond. So it's a choice that you make to have a lab. Natural. Of course, when you're paying, you want to make sure you're paying for the right kind of stone. Lab diamonds are also certified. Natural diamonds are also certified. So as long as the certificate tells you what the stone is, and they're certified by authentic bodies that certify gemstones. So you can definitely ask for a certificate to make sure.
So there are things when people have opinions wherein they say certain gemstones suit only certain people. Like there are the saying wherein based on your personality, you're asked to wear a particular stone. Probably it kind of gets you good fortune, or I don't know how far that's.
Yeah.
What is that? But even I'm wearing this one, looking at
Is that a ruby?
I do not know.
It's like a ruby. It's a ruby.
So I read it on the newspaper that I'm supposed to wear this.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, probably based on my work month and all, I got this. I do not know how far it's true. So I just wanted to clarify, like, do gemstone help you to kind of get good fortune or probably reflects your personality, something like that?
Yeah, so that's a subjective matter, and I'll be careful about saying things. But having said that, different cultures believe different things about gemstones. So now, India is probably one of the oldest cultures which has used, gemstone as part of jewelry and gemstone for astrological reasons. And like for example, I wear an emerald, and this is because my astrologer friend said it will be a good stone for me to wear. But I love the colors, so I said it was easy for me to decide, So So it's a matter of belief as well. I think that's one of the big factors because people around the world wear emeralds, not because they've been told to wear, they just might just love the color. So I think it's a cultural thing whether, if you've been advised based on astrology to wear certain stones and if there's a belief of attracting certain, and then, I think it's a fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
Do you think there's also some kind of mind game that you're playing with it? It's because you believe things to turn out like that.
Oh, I don't know because I wear emerald, but I've not seen any correlation between all the good and the bad and the ugly that happens in my life. But I think at the end of the day, you're also the master of your own destiny. Whatever's said and done, you still have control about what outcomes you can bring in your life. So I'm of that belief. Unfortunately.
Which is the most expensive stone out there?
Rather than looking at what's most expensive, because everything's dependent on a lot of factors. So there are 3 C's for every. What I also say in 4 C's because cut, clarity, and color of a stone are the 3 C's. And C certification is also one of the factors that affects price point. So, for example, a round cut, brilliant, natural diamond will fetch a certain price. But if the color is, a little lesser, then obviously price point will be slightly lower. If the color is really on high on the scale, then obviously the price point. So all these little factors affect your price point. Sometimes a ruby can be more expensive than a diamond, depending on, again, Burmese ruby, Mozambique ruby, the country of origin also matters.
Which is the rarest gemstone that you know?
Rarest. Right now, somebody told me, one of my clients said she wants to source a moldavite stone, which is a stone/crystal. I've been looking high and low for a moldavite, and I believe it's somewhere of Czech Republic. Apparently, green in color, similar to a tourmaline, that kind of green color, leafy green. But I've spoken to a number of suppliers and I don't know where else to source it from. So if your viewers are listening and they know where to get your moldavite,
how is your jewelry brand different from the rest of the already established brand out there?
Yeah, so what you want to find out is about jewelry stores, store-based brands versus us, right? Yeah. Look, I think first of all, we all have our own lanes, right? What we're doing is bespoke work. Growing up, my parents, being my families, we've all had our famous or preferred jeweler. You'd go. I know in Ponda we have our own preferred jeweler for years. We'd go to them. There's a need. Tomorrow I want a piece of jewelry to either gift or it's my birthday, my mom will go and buy. She knows exactly what she wants. She'll go to the store, if she finds it, she'll pick it up and come home, So that's the traditional way we have been buying jewelry. And there is a need for it because, if you want to do something bespoke, it takes time. Whereas if there's something ready, you know exactly what you want, why you want it, and you go and make the purchase. And that works. Where we come into the picture is, that is all need-based, We are more desire-based, You may have a design that you've been thinking about for the longest time. You've saved it on Pinterest, you've downloaded some images, and someday I will make this,
Yes.
And I think that's where we come with the picture, where we make your bling dreams come true.
Like I can just show a photograph and you can promote.
Absolutely, yeah. You may not even have a photograph, you may have an idea of a stone, a certain color that you want to wear, and then we can design that for you. You may have seen a design for many, many years and saved it, we can make that for you. You may have seen a design and a price point of a design somewhere in a magazine. You didn't like the price point, you really like the design. We can find ways to make it all fit.
The gold price is fluctuating like anything these days. Why is it happening?
But so many factors, right? I mean, globally, everything that's been happening recently, and it's always been the case. Anything that happens globally impacts share values, and same way affects precious metals, gold and silver predominantly. So things that we could do better decisions around, but some of leaders probably don't, and then we get to suffer.
People always say that investing in gold is a good decision. What about investing in gold jewelry? Like, is it good from an investment point of view, or is it just for your personal return?
Look, when you invest in gold, you're investing in your 24 karat gold, and that obviously it's the purest, so you retain value of that, and value appreciates better. When you buy jewelry, obviously there are alloys that are added. Caratage comes down to 22, 20, 18 carats. And it's, and it's a piece of jewelry, then therefore they have to melt to be able to understand what's the value at that time. There's a process to it. So gold obviously has always been the best investment, pure gold. Silver has been such a great investment, recently especially. And if you're buying gold, people, whether it's in jewelry form, it is always appreciated. I mean, I remember during my wedding, I was given a certain amount of gold. It has appreciated phenomenally over the years, So whether it's in either form, gold is gold, end of the day. And especially, I think in India, our consumption of gold is so high that you can't go wrong.
Before we get into Indian customers, I just want to ask, what is the difference between 18 karat gold and 24 karat?
It's just the amount of alloys that are added. Purity of the gold. So your 24 karat gold, you add with more alloys because soft. Gold is malleable and ductile, right? So you add more alloys to make it firmer. And it's still very malleable, but at the same time, once it hardens quite
so
good.
it's better if you add alloys in case if you're going to wear it daily.
Yeah, great.
What kind of jewelry the Indian customers prefer in comparison to the global customers, especially the New Zealand customers? Because you are dealing with the customer outside India. How is the choice of jewelry different between Indian customers and the customers who are outside?
Okay. No, that's a very good question. And what I'm finding is, even if I look at just myself over the years, my choice has changed as well. Going from I wouldn't wear any jewelry to wearing all sorts of jewelry. So I've become more experimental in the way I use or wear my jewelry. And I find that's across the board, across my generation of Indians as well. They're far more experimental in their designs. You don't hesitate to wear larger pieces, cocktail rings, larger earrings, and things like that. If I look at the New Zealand population, generally, the kind of clientele that come to us, number one is culturally, they don't wear as much jewelry as we do. They on a day-to-day basis or even otherwise. Their weddings are based on one ring, maybe a pair of earrings, and the pair of earrings may or may not be, pure gold. Like how, for us, wedding is all about gold, right? How much gold. So it's not the same culture. So it's usually around that wedding band or an engagement ring. Like we've done a number of engagement rings where the guys have come to us and based on what their girlfriends like and fiancés like, they make sure they got the right design and the shape and size. The focus is on that one piece. Whereas
in India,
we are versatile, I would say, very diverse nowadays. Yeah.
Do you find difference in choices among the younger generation and the older generation in India?
Yes, I think so. Like if my, I can always go back to examples from home. Like if my mom was placing an order with me, she'll say, I want 22 karat gold, nothing less than that. Like 18 karat doesn't even make sense to us, because that's not even gold. So that thinking is still there with that generation. Of course, when you explain that, 18 karat gold holds the stone better. It's great for the stone if you're doing stone work. That starts making sense. I think with the younger generation across a lot of the clients that we dealt with, a lot of clients in India like to have customized work. Nobody's really keen on just buying anything that's available in store because there are multiple pieces, and you may not have exact design that you want, and you want your occasion to be really bespoke. Then why shouldn't the jewelry be bespoke? Because it's such a big part of the celebration.
What's your take on tactile jewelry? The whole world, especially the Indian brides, are looking forward to having tactile jewelry for them. When you look at it from investment point of view, or how do you look at it?
Look, it's a design at the end of the day. And it's jewelry that's made out of gold. It's a certain type of design. It's a very South Indian kind of design. I personally like some of the designs, when it's worn on its own, has its own charm. Of course, you can overdo it because you can go all out, etc. But end of the day, it's gold that doesn't. It's art, and it's gold that doesn't have other additional layers of stones, making it and easier to match. Yes, yeah.
From where do you get the raw materials for your jewelry? Do you have a particular dealer, or from where do you get it in things? Like, for example, if you are making a gold jewelry, from where are you going to get your gold for it? In case if you are buying, crafting a piece of ring for a particular person, and you need some stones for it, checks. Where are you going to get it from?
Yeah. So it's simple, just like everybody else will buy a gold from the gold market, buy pure gold and then convert it into 18 karat, 22 karat, depending on what we're making. As far as gemstones are concerned, whether it's diamonds or the precious or semi-precious stones, we source it from our preferred suppliers who are wholesalers or manufacturers of those particular stones. So we have a preferred line of suppliers from whom we procure our stones. But of course, because we do bespoke work, we may not buy in bulk. We will go to the manufacturer, check each and every stone that we are after, get the right size, check it with the customer. That's the part of our work which is more complicated, Go back to the customer, make sure they're happy with what they're seeing. And because it's online, WhatsApp, videos and all that, to make sure that it's as real as it can be for the person to see, like, and decide and move forward.
You have repetitively said that it's bespoke. Can you elaborate on it? What is the spec like?
Right. So bespoke is nothing but you make it specifically customized to your needs. So for example, the emerald ring. Yeah. Now I know this stone is a 3 karat emerald. You may like the design of you, and you may say, "Oh, I really like the design, but such a big stone might not suit my fingers. I want something smaller." Or you may say, "I want an oval stone rather than a square stone." Or you may want a round, in any particular shape or design. Or you may not want natural diamonds. You may want lab diamonds on the edges. So all that is customized to your needs, based on what you're after. Rubies, there are different colors. There are pink rubies, there are red rubies, there are pinkish red, reddish pink.
Which is the best one?
Again, personal choice. So you can get rubies from different countries, right? The Burmese rubies are very highly rated in the world. Then there's Mozambique rubies, and there are rubies from India, and there are brought rubies from Sri Lanka and other parts of the world. So the origin matters because then the color is based on the mineral of that particular mine. What mineral sources add color to the stone. So different colors, different appeal for different people, So, people like the reddish rubies because the color is vibrant, etc.
I love rubies. I just have an obsession with different kind of rubies.
I love you already.
Okay, are you a foodie?
Very much. I mean, you can tell.
What kind of cuisine do you love?
Staple home food is always fish curry rice for us in New Zealand or here, except the fish is different there. but we try to make it as close to home as possible. In fact, we even have an adori at home so that can grate coconut. And, so my husband made an adori so that we can grate coconut.
He made it.
He made it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you have good taste buds?
I think so. I have coffee, but I'm not killing my taste buds.
Okay. So we'll have a quick 5 minutes game wherein we'll give you 3 food items, one by one. But here is a quick third. Your eyes will be closed. You'll have to take a bite and tell 3 ingredients from each of the dish without looking at it. Within
Wow.
5 seconds.
Is it? I've not done something like this before.
So let's go ahead with this.
All right, let's do it.
We have a first dish ready over here. I'll serve it to you.
Okay.
You can hold them in your hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Done it?
Yes. We have 3 seconds. We'll give you 10 seconds.
Mint.
Yeah. Today now.
This actually tastes like a very familiar taste. Falafel. Or some sort of dal in it.
Which dal?
Okay. Wow. Like Kabuli chana or urad dal. I don't know. Not urad dal, sorry. It's some kind of cutlery thing. That's definitely got chutney. There's
Yes.
yogurt in the mint.
Yes.
So it's a dal.
No, kind of. You can open your eyes and have it.
This is aloo tikki.
It is
It's a
jackfruit.
jackfruit.
Yes.
The roti kebab.
Jackfruit malasi kebab.
I wouldn't have guessed.
This is jackfruit with this.
Really? Yeah.
We have our second dish ready over here.
Okay.
I will help you. Go ahead.
Chicken? Yes. Chutney.
What kind of chutney?
It's got the gooey taste of it.
Yes.
So with the yogurt and pepper, lemon,
Yes.
chicken. Chutneys. Also coriander paste.
Yes. You can open and have a look at it. You are all of it.
What? Wow. What's the white cloud about?
Right. It's anyway.
Egg white. Wow, unique. I've never had something like this.
The presentation.
Is that chicken inside?
Yes.
Wow. Egg white.
Yeah.
And they baked it? Beautiful. I've never seen anything like this before.
I have liked it.
Definitely.
You can go ahead and
But
have
I'm just kind of stunned at how they use egg white. Wow.
it. Did you like their presentation?
Very. It's so different. I've never seen anything like this.
We have our third dish over here.
Okay.
And this is my personal favorite.
Is that?
Yeah. Do you have a sweet tooth?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, then you will.
Okay. What's the dessert then? Mango.
Yes.
Oh, this is divine. Has it got a cake-like thing?
Yes.
A mango syrup. And
No, not syrup.
not syrup. Ingredients, I think there's maida,
Yes.
sugar, mango.
Yeah. You can open your eyes. It's done.
Looks like a souffle. And oh, that's cashew.
Yeah.
Wow. I have a picture of this. So yummy.
For being part of our thing, and this is a memento for us for being part of our podcast. We'll also give you a WhatsApp. We'll share it to you on. We'll also give you a voucher. We'll share it to you on WhatsApp. You can come over here in 9 anytime you want with your loved ones. why do I do this?
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And very thoughtful. It's been a splendid experience. Thank you so much for having me, Piyu. And as part of my appreciation, get something.
Thank you so much. This is the first time I'm saying something like that. Yes.
It's part of our tradition, right?
Yes.
You go to see a guest for the first time, you take something.
Thank you so much. So it's been one of the most easiest conversation for me, probably because we think much in a similar way. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure. And you should come to New Zealand next.
Definitely.
I mean, it was definitely a fun conversation talking with someone with so much energy, so much enthusiasm, learning about gemstones, jewelry, and all of these things, something which I'm very much passionate about. It was fun to go. I hope you have enjoyed this one. If you have any guest suggestion in mind, do let us know in comment section.